The massive space station called Concordia Prime floated in the darkness between the stars. It was bigger than most moons and served as the meeting place for the Galactic Defense Coalition. Today, the main hall buzzed with activity as alien representatives from dozens of worlds gathered for an important vote. Admiral Sarah Chen walked through the corridors with steady steps. Her simple blue uniform looked plain compared to the glowing robes and crystal armor worn by the aliens around her. She carried a small data pad in her hands and tried to ignore the stares and whispers that followed her. The main assembly hall was enormous. Rows of seats curved in a great circle, rising up like the inside of a giant bowl. Each seat was designed for different alien body types. Some were filled with towering crystal beings who sparkled like living diamonds. Others held insect-like creatures with many arms and clicking mandibles. Floating energy clouds drifted above special platforms, while massive slug-like beings occupied reinforced benches at the bottom level. Admiral Chen took her place at the speaker's platform in the center. Above her head, a holographic display showed the image of Earth's newest warship, the UES Defiance. The ship looked small and simple compared to the massive alien vessels shown in other displays around the room. "Honored delegates," Admiral Chen began, her voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. "Humanity respectfully requests membership in the Galactic Defense Coalition. We offer our newest flagship vessel as proof of our commitment to galactic peace and security." A sound like breaking glass filled the air. War Prime Kethazar, the leader of the Zephyrian delegation, was laughing. His crystal body rang out musical notes that somehow managed to sound mocking. Other aliens joined in with their own versions of laughter. Clicking sounds, buzzing noises, and flashing lights. "This is what the humans call a warship?" Kethazar's voice chimed like wind through crystal caves. "It looks like a metal toy that children might play with." The hologram rotated slowly, showing the UES Defiance from all angles. The ship was only 300 meters long, shaped like a stretched diamond with smooth edges. It had no visible weapons ports, no glowing energy shields, and no impressive size to command respect. Next to it, smaller displays showed Zephyrian battlecruisers that were over 1 kilometer long and bristled with crystal cannon arrays. "How did this species even reach the stars?" asked Commander Vexhai of the Vorthak swarm. His insect head tilted as he studied the human ship. "Their vessel appears to be made of simple metal alloys. Where are the bio-neural networks? The quantum resonance chambers? The dark matter manipulators?" Admiral Chen kept her face calm, even as more laughter filled the hall. "Our ship may look different, but humans have always found unique solutions to complex problems. We believe diversity of approach strengthens any alliance." "Diversity?" A luminal delegate pulsed bright orange with amusement. "You crawled out of the mud on your little world only a few thousand rotations ago. Your species still fights wars with chemical explosives and metal projectiles. What could you possibly contribute to civilizations that have mastered the fundamental forces of the universe?" The Drakmari representative, a being that looked like a cross between a dragon and a snake, slithered forward on its platform. "Perhaps they could serve as emergency food supplies," it hissed, causing another wave of alien laughter. Admiral Chen waited for the noise to die down. She had expected this reaction. Earth's intelligence services had warned her that humanity's technology would seem primitive to these advanced civilizations. Most of these species had been traveling between stars for millions of years. They had weapons that could crack planets and shields that could stop supernovas. "We understand your concerns," she said carefully. "Humanity may be new to galactic civilization, but we learn quickly. We adapt. We survive." War Prime Kethzar rose from his crystal throne. His body caught the light from the hall's illumination and scattered rainbow patterns across the walls. "Survival is not the same as military strength, little human. The Coalition faces threats that would make your primitive mind break with fear. The void devourers at the galaxy's edge consume entire star systems. The ancient machines in the deep dark turn living worlds into metal wastelands. Your tiny ship would be destroyed before it could even target such enemies." "Then test us," Admiral Chen said quietly. The hall fell silent. Even the constant background hum of translation devices seemed to pause. "What did you say?" Kethazar's voice carried a dangerous note. "I said test us. Give humanity a chance to prove our worth. Set any challenge you think is fair. If we succeed, grant us membership in the Coalition. If we fail," she paused and looked around the hall, "then we will accept whatever terms you offer." The aliens began talking among themselves in dozens of different languages. Some clicked excitedly, others flashed rapid color patterns, and a few made sounds like grinding stone. Admiral Chen stood calmly in the center of it all, waiting. Finally, Kethazar raised one crystal arm for silence. "You would risk your entire species on such a gamble?" "We would risk our pride to earn our place among the stars," Admiral Chen replied. "Humanity has never asked for charity. We only ask for the chance to prove ourselves." "Very well." Kethazar's crystal body seemed to grow brighter. "A simple test, then. Your single ship against a standard Zephyrian patrol formation. 5 light cruisers, each one larger and more powerful than your toy vessel. The battle will take place in the tiers of Kronos asteroid field, where many species have proven their worth over the centuries." Admiral Chen felt her heart beat faster, but kept her expression steady. "What are the terms?" "If your ship survives and demonstrates true military capability, humanity will be granted provisional membership in the coalition. But if your ship is destroyed or forced to surrender," he paused for effect, "then your species will become a protectorate under Zephyrian guidance. We will place our ships in your system and guide your development for the next 1,000 rotations." The other delegates murmured approval. It seemed like a reasonable test to them, generous even. Most species had to prove themselves against much larger forces to join the coalition. Admiral Chen knew she had no choice. Earth needed the protection and resources that coalition membership would provide. Humanity was still confined to their single star system, while ancient threats prowled the galaxy beyond. Without allies, Earth would eventually face something it could not handle alone. "Humanity accepts your challenge," she said formally. War Prime Kethzar's crystal form rang with satisfaction. "Excellent. The test will begin in 3 rotations. Prepare your little ship, Admiral Chen. I hope your crew has made peace with whatever gods your species worships." As the session ended and delegates began filing out, Admiral Chen remained standing on the platform. She watched the hologram of the UES Defiance rotate slowly above her head. To everyone in this hall, it looked like a primitive vessel, crewed by an upstart species that had no business among the stars. They had no idea what humanity had really built. She touched her communication device. "Admiral Chen to UES Defiance. Prepare for immediate departure. We have a test to pass." Captain Rodriguez's voice came back clear and steady. "Understood, Admiral." "Should we prep the Ragnarok protocol?" Admiral Chen looked around the empty hall one more time. "Not yet, Captain. Let them think they know what they're dealing with. In 3 days, we'll show them what humans do when someone laughs at our ships." She walked toward the exit, her footsteps echoing in the vast space. Behind her, the hologram of humanity's toy warship continued its slow rotation, waiting for its moment to change the galaxy forever. 3 days later, the UES Defiance moved slowly through the tiers of Kronos asteroid field. The space around the ship was filled with floating rocks, some as small as houses and others as large as cities. Ancient battles had been fought here for thousands of years, and the asteroids bore scars from countless weapons tests and military trials. Captain Marcus Rodriguez sat in his command chair and watched the tactical display. His crew of 43 men and women worked quietly at their stations. Everyone knew what was at stake today. If they failed, Earth would become a protectorate under alien rule. If they succeeded, humanity would take its first real step toward joining galactic civilization. "Contact on sensors, Captain," reported Lieutenant Kim from the sensor station. 5 Zephyrian light cruisers approaching from the spinward side of the field. "Put them on screen," Rodriguez ordered. The main view screen lit up with the image of the approaching enemy fleet. The Zephyrian ships were beautiful in their own way. Long, elegant vessels that looked like they had been carved from massive crystals. Each ship was nearly a kilometer long and bristled with weapons ports that glowed with contained energy. Their hulls caught and reflected the light from the nearby star, creating patterns of rainbow fire along their surfaces. The lead ship was twice the size of the others and bore the personal markings of War Prime Kethazar himself. Rodriguez could see weapon ports opening along its hull like glowing eyes. "Incoming. Transmission," reported communications. Officer Park put it through, War Prime. Kethzar's image appeared on a secondary screen. His crystal features somehow managed to look smug despite being made of living mineral. "Captain Rodriguez, I presume? I am here to personally oversee your defeat. Perhaps witnessing true military power will help your species understand their proper place in the galaxy." We'll see about that, Rodriguez replied calmly. Indeed we will. My ships will engage you in standard formation combat. We will not use our most powerful weapons. That would hardly be sporting against such a small target. Think of this as a learning experience before you submit to Zephyrian protection. The transmission ended. Rodriguez turned to his crew. All hands, this is the captain. Battle stations. Remember your training and trust in your equipment. Today we show the galaxy what humanity can do. The ship's lighting shifted to combat red as the crew prepared for battle. On dozens of screens throughout the ship, alien observers from the Galactic Coalition watched through long-range sensors. This battle would be recorded and studied by military historians for centuries to come, though most expected it to be a very short and one-sided fight. Enemy ships moving into attack formation, Lieutenant Kim reported. They're spreading out in a standard finger 5 pattern. Lead ship taking point position, 4 escorts flanking at 2-kilometer intervals. Rodriguez studied the tactical display. The Zephyrian formation was textbook perfect, a classic approach that had worked for their military for thousands of years. The lead ship would draw enemy fire while the escorts moved to surround and destroy any target that tried to run. What's our weapon status, Commander Hayes? Rodriguez asked his executive officer. Conventional weapons are online and ready, Commander Sarah Hayes replied. Magnetic accelerator cannons, plasma batteries, and missile systems all show green. Defensive systems are operating normally. And our special package? Hayes glanced around the bridge, then spoke more quietly. Dr. Vasquez reports the Ragnarok protocol is ready for activation on your command, sir. All safety systems are in place, Rodriguez nodded. The crew didn't know exactly what the Ragnarok protocol was. Only the senior officers had been briefed on humanity's secret weapon. Everyone else knew only that their ship carried something that made Earth's leaders confident enough to accept this challenge. Range to enemy ships? Rodriguez asked. 50,000 kilometers and closing, Kim reported. They're moving at standard approach speed. Estimated time to weapons range is 6 minutes. Take us deeper into the asteroid field, Rodriguez ordered. Use the rocks for cover. Make them come to us. The Defiance moved between 2 massive asteroids, using their bulk to block direct fire from the approaching Zephyrian ships. Rodriguez had studied every battle ever fought in this field. He knew that smaller, more agile ships could use the asteroids to their advantage if they were clever enough. They're splitting up, Kim announced. 2 ships moving to flank us from above the field plane, 2 more going below. Lead ship maintaining direct approach. Just like the textbook says, Hayes murmured. Rodriguez smiled grimly. Good thing we didn't read their textbook. Helm, bring us about to heading 27 Mark IV. Use asteroid Delta 7 as a shield. The human ship moved with surprising grace between the floating rocks. The Zephyrian vessels, much larger and less maneuverable, had to take wider courses around the asteroids. This gave the Defiance precious time to position itself. Enemy ships entering weapons range, Kim reported. Lead ship is powering up plasma batteries. Brilliant beams of blue-white energy lanced through space, striking the asteroid that the Defiance had been hiding behind moments before. The rock exploded into glowing fragments that scattered in all directions. Return fire, Rodriguez ordered. Conventional weapons only. The Defiance's magnetic accelerator cannon spat streams of metal projectiles at the nearest Zephyrian ship. The slugs moved at significant fractions of the speed of light, but they splashed harmlessly against the alien vessel's energy shields like raindrops on glass. No effect on target, Hayes reported. I didn't expect any, Rodriguez replied. We're not trying to hurt them yet. We're gathering data. More plasma bolts filled the space around the human ship. Rodriguez guided his vessel through a complex series of evasive maneuvers, using the asteroids as cover and concealment. The Zephyrian ships were powerful, but they moved like the massive vessels they were, slow to turn and predictable in their attack patterns. For 20 minutes, the battle continued in this fashion. The Defiance darted between asteroids while the Zephyrian ships tried to corner it with overwhelming firepower. Several times the human ship took glancing hits that made the hull ring like a bell, but the damage was manageable. On Concordia Prime, alien observers watched the displays with growing interest. The human ship was lasting longer than anyone had expected. It showed remarkable agility, and its crew displayed tactical skills that impressed even veteran military commanders. But everyone could see that it was only a matter of time. The Defiance's conventional weapons couldn't penetrate Zephyrian shields, while the alien ships had unlimited ammunition for their energy weapons. Eventually, the human ship would make a mistake or run out of places to hide. Hull damage on Deck 3, Hayes reported after another near miss. No casualties, but we're starting to feel it. Rodriguez checked his instruments. The ship's armor was holding, but barely. They had maybe 10 more minutes before the damage became critical. "Captain," came Dr. Vasquez's voice over the internal comm. "The weapon is fully charged and ready. All quantum field generators are synchronized. We can fire at any time." Rodriguez looked at the tactical display one more time. All 5 Zephyrian ships were now in the open, having emerged from the asteroid field to surround his vessel. They hung in space like glowing jewels, their weapons ports blazing with deadly energy. It was time to show the galaxy what humans could really do. "Dr. Vasquez, this is the captain. You are authorized to activate the Ragnarok Protocol. Target the lead ship first." "Understood, Captain. Ragnarok Protocol is now active. Targeting the enemy flagship. Recommend all crew brace for quantum displacement effects." Rodriguez opened a channel to the entire ship. "All hands, this is the captain. In 30 seconds, you will witness something that has never been done before in the history of galactic warfare. Hold on to your stations and prepare to make history." On his screen, War Prime Kethazar appeared again. The alien commander looked confident and pleased with himself. "Captain Rodriguez, your ship has fought bravely, but this charade has gone on long enough. Surrender now and I will ensure your crew receives honorable treatment." Rodriguez looked directly into the alien's crystal eyes. "War Prime Kethazar, you asked what humanity could contribute to galactic civilization. In about 15 seconds, you're going to find out." He turned to Dr. Vasquez's station. "Fire." Dr. Elena Vasquez sat at her special console deep in the heart of the UES Defiance. The room around her hummed with energy that made the air itself feel thick and strange. Banks of computers lined the walls, their screens showing readings that would have been impossible for any alien scientist to understand. This was humanity's greatest secret, the one thing Earth's leaders had never shared with any other species. While the galaxy's civilizations had advanced beyond what they called primitive nuclear weapons millions of years ago, humans had done something different. They had perfected them. "Ragnarok Protocol is active," Dr. Vasquez announced, her fingers moving across controls that had taken 20 years to design. "All quantum field generators are synchronized and ready." The weapon hidden in the Defiance's core was not really a weapon at all, in the traditional sense. It was a tool that humans had built to harness the fundamental forces that held reality together. Other species had moved past nuclear fusion and fission, considering such things crude and outdated. They had never imagined that those basic forces could be refined and focused in ways that would make their energy weapons look like toys. Dr. Vasquez had spent her entire adult life working on what the military called quantum cascade manipulation. It sounded harmless enough, just another research project buried in classified files. But what it really meant was learning how to make matter forget how to exist. "Target locked on the enemy flagship," she reported to Captain Rodriguez. "Quantum entanglement fields are stable. Dark matter manipulation systems are online." The science behind the weapon was almost impossibly complex, but the basic idea was simple. Every atom in the universe was connected to every other atom through quantum forces. If you knew how to manipulate those connections, you could make one piece of matter affect another piece of matter instantly, regardless of the distance between them. Dr. Vasquez's weapon created a tiny artificial singularity, a point in space where gravity became so strong that the normal rules of physics broke down. But this singularity was special. It was quantum entangled with the target, creating a bridge between the weapon and the enemy ship that existed outside normal spacetime. "Beginning quantum cascade initiation," she announced. On the bridge, Captain Rodriguez watched his tactical display as the 5 Zephyrian ships closed in for the kill. War Prime Kethazar's flagship led the formation, its crystal hull blazing with weapon fire. The alien commander clearly expected the human ship to surrender at any moment. He had no idea that human scientists had spent decades learning how to weaponize entropy itself. "Field generators at full power," Dr. Vasquez reported, "initiating dark matter resonance cascade in 3, 2, 1. Cascade initiated. Deep in the ship's core, something that had never existed before in the natural universe began to form. It was smaller than an atom but contained forces that could reshape reality. Carefully controlled magnetic fields guided it toward the ship's main cannon, which had been disguised to look like a simple magnetic accelerator. "Weapon is charged and ready to fire," Dr. Vasquez announced. "Captain, once I pull this trigger, there's no taking it back. The target will cease to exist on a quantum level." Rodriguez took a deep breath. Earth's top scientists had assured him that the weapon was safe, that it would only affect the intended target and nothing else. But they were about to test theories that had only existed in computer simulations. "All crew, brace for quantum displacement," he announced over the ship's communication system. On Concordia Prime, thousands of alien observers watched through long-range sensors as the battle reached its climax. Most expected to see the human ship destroyed within the next few minutes. A few military experts noted that the Defiance was showing unusual energy readings, but nothing that seemed particularly threatening. War Prime Kethazar opened a final communication channel to the human ship. "Captain Rodriguez, I grow tired of this game. Surrender immediately or we will be forced to destroy your vessel." "War Prime," Rodriguez replied calmly. "You wanted to know what humans could contribute to galactic civilization. I'm about to show you." He turned to Dr. Vasquez's station. "Dr. Vasquez, you have authorization Omega 77. Fire the Ragnarok protocol." Dr. Vasquez's hand moved to the final control. "Firing now, Captain." The weapon that emerged from the Defiance's main gun didn't look like much. It appeared to be a simple beam of coherent energy, no more impressive than the plasma bolts that the Zephyrian ships had been firing for the past 30 minutes. It moved at the speed of light toward War Prime Kethzar's flagship, seeming almost anticlimactic after all the buildup. For a moment, nothing happened. The beam struck the Zephyrian ship's shields and seemed to have no effect at all. War Prime Kethzar actually began to laugh, his crystal form ringing with amusement at the pathetic human weapon. Then the quantum cascade began. Dr. Vasquez watched her instruments with growing excitement. "Quantum entanglement established," she reported. "Dark matter resonance is propagating through the target's molecular structure. Cascade reaction is spreading at faster than light speeds through quantum foam." What happened next had never been seen before in the history of the galaxy. The Zephyrian flagship didn't explode or burn or break apart. It simply stopped being there. One moment it was a massive crystal warship, bristling with weapons and shields. The next moment there was nothing but empty space where it had been. No debris. No energy signature. No trace that it had ever existed at all. The quantum cascade had unraveled the quantum bonds that held the ship's atoms together. Every particle that had made up the vessel had been disconnected from the fundamental forces of the universe. In less than a second, a kilometer-long warship had been reduced to quantum foam that dispersed harmlessly into space. War Prime. Kethazar had just enough time to register what was happening before he and his ship ceased to exist on any level of reality. "Target eliminated," Dr. Vasquez reported, though her voice carried a note of awe at what she had just witnessed. "Quantum cascade complete. No traces of the target vessel remain on any sensor band." Captain Rodriguez stared at his tactical display. Where the enemy flagship had been, there was now absolutely nothing. The other 4 Zephyrian ships hung motionless in space, their crews presumably staring at their own sensors in shock and disbelief. "Dr. Vasquez," Rodriguez said quietly, "can the weapon be fired again?" "Yes, Captain." The cascade effect was contained to the target vessel as designed. The weapon is ready to engage the remaining ships if necessary. Rodriguez opened a communication channel to the surviving Zephyrian vessels. "Zephyrian fleet, this is Captain Rodriguez of the UES Defiance. Your flagship has been destroyed. I recommend you withdraw immediately." The response came from one of the surviving ships. The voice was shaky and filled with disbelief. "Human ship. What did you do? Where is War Prime Kethzar? What weapon did you use?" "We used human ingenuity," Rodriguez replied. "The same thing that took us from mud to the stars in a few thousand years. The same thing that will make us valuable allies to the Galactic Defense Coalition." On Concordia Prime, the alien observers sat in stunned silence. Their instruments had recorded everything, but none of them could understand what they had witnessed. The most advanced civilizations in the galaxy had never seen matter simply cease to exist without any trace. The remaining Zephyrian ships began to withdraw from the battlefield. Their crews had lost all desire to continue the fight after watching their flagship vanish from reality. Whatever the humans had done, it was beyond anything in their experience. Dr. Vasquez powered down the weapon systems and began running diagnostic checks. The Ragnarok protocol had worked exactly as designed. Humanity now possessed something that no other species in the galaxy could understand or defend against. A weapon that could unmake matter itself. "Captain," she said, "recommend we do not reveal the full capabilities of this weapon to our new allies. Some secrets are too dangerous to share." Rodriguez nodded. "Agreed, Doctor. Let them think it was just a very powerful cannon. No need to explain quantum cascade theory to beings who gave up nuclear science 1,000,000 years ago." He turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to Admiral Chen on Concordia Prime. Tell her the test is complete and humanity is ready for membership in the Coalition." As the Defiance began its journey back to the space station, Captain Rodriguez allowed himself a small smile. The galaxy had laughed at humanity's frail warship. They would not be laughing much longer. The silence in the main assembly hall of Concordia Prime was complete and terrifying. Every alien delegate sat frozen in their seats, staring at the tactical displays that showed the aftermath of the impossible battle. Where moments before there had been 5 Zephyrian warships, now only 4 remained. The flagship of War Prime Kethzar had simply vanished from existence. Commander Vexai of the Vorthax swarm clicked his mandibles nervously as he studied the sensor readings for the 100th time. His insect eyes could process information faster than most organic brains, but nothing in the data made sense. "The target vessel shows no debris field," he announced to the hushed assembly. "No energy residue. No quantum signature. It is as if the ship never existed." The luminal delegate pulsed rapid patterns of confused orange light. "Our instruments detected the human weapon firing. A simple energy beam, nothing more. How can such a primitive discharge cause complete molecular disintegration?" Admiral Chen stood at the speaker's platform, watching the faces of beings who had mocked humanity only hours before. She could see fear in their expressions, fear of something they could not understand or explain. These civilizations had mastered faster than light travel, controlled stellar engineering, and fought wars across galactic distances. But they had never seen anything like what the UES Defiance had just demonstrated. On the main display, the 4 surviving Zephyrian ships were retreating at maximum speed. Their captains transmitted frantic reports back to their home fleet, describing a weapon that violated every known law of physics. The crystalline beings who had seemed so confident before were now fleeing from a single human vessel. "How?" The voice came from Elder Therian of the Ethereal Collective, one of the oldest and most advanced species in the Coalition. His energy form flickered with patterns that indicated deep confusion. "Our civilization has existed for 12 million rotations. We have studied every form of matter and energy in this galaxy. What the humans have demonstrated should not be possible." Admiral Chen kept her expression neutral. "Humanity has always been good at finding solutions that others overlook. We see problems from different angles." "Different angles?" The Drakmari representative's serpentine body coiled with agitation. "You unmade a ship. You caused matter to cease existing without triggering any known energy release. This breaks the fundamental laws that govern reality itself." The assembly erupted into dozens of simultaneous conversations as different species tried to understand what they had witnessed. Some demanded technical explanations. Others insisted the battle recordings must be falsified. A few suggested that humanity might be using technology, from the ancient machines or the void devourers, threats so dangerous that even mentioning them caused ripples of panic. Through the hall, Admiral Chen raised her hand for silence. "Honored delegates, the test you proposed has been completed. The UES Defiance engaged 5 Zephyrian warships and achieved victory. According to the terms agreed upon by War Prime Kethzar, humanity should now be granted membership in the Galactic Defense Coalition." "War Prime Kethzar is dead," hissed the temporary Zephyrian representative, a smaller crystal being whose light pulsed with grief and rage, along with his entire crew. 150 of our finest warriors gone without trace. What manner of monsters are you humans? We are the same species you called primitive children 3 days ago," Admiral Chen replied calmly. "We have not changed. Your perception of us has changed." A new voice spoke from the highest tier of the assembly, Supreme Coordinator Zaldeth of the Cosmic Assembly, was the closest thing the coalition had to a single leader. Her species were ancient beings of pure thought, who rarely involved themselves in mundane affairs. When she spoke, everyone listened. Admiral Chen of Earth, Zaldeth's mental voice reached every mind in the hall simultaneously. Your species has demonstrated capabilities that challenge our understanding of the universe. Before we can consider coalition membership, we must understand the nature of your weapons. Will you share this technology with us? Admiral Chen had been expecting this question. Earth's leaders had spent months debating how to handle it. Supreme Coordinator, humanity believes that some knowledge is too dangerous to share freely. We will use our capabilities to defend coalition worlds and fight common enemies. But the technical details of our weapons will remain classified. Unacceptable, shouted the Andromedan delegate. How can we trust allies who keep secrets? What prevents you from using these weapons against coalition members? What prevented the Zephyrians from using their plasma cannons against coalition members? Admiral Chen countered. Every species in this assembly possesses weapons that could destroy worlds. Trust is not built on shared vulnerability. It is built on shared purpose. Elder Therian's energy form brightened with what might have been understanding. You suggest that humanity's weapon technology should be treated the same as any other military capability. Each species contributes their strengths while keeping their methods private. Exactly, Admiral Chen confirmed. Humanity does not ask the Vorthak to share their bioweapon secrets, or demand that the luminals reveal their energy manipulation techniques. We simply ask to be judged by our actions, not our methods. The debate continued for hours. Some delegates argued that humanity's weapons were too dangerous for any single species to control. Others pointed out that the coalition faced threats that might require such extreme measures to defeat. The ancient machines at the galaxy's edge were rumored to possess reality-warping technology of their own. The Void Devourers consumed matter and energy on a scale that made normal weapons useless. Finally, Supreme Coordinator Zaldeth called for order. The vote will now commence. All in favor of granting humanity full membership in the Galactic Defense Coalition. One by one, the delegates cast their votes. The Ethereal Collective voted yes, recognizing that humanity's unique capabilities might be needed against cosmic-level threats. The Andromedan Federation voted yes, deciding that it was better to have humans as allies than potential enemies. The Vorthak Swarm voted yes, their hive mind calculating that human weapons could protect their colonies from extinction-level dangers. Even the surviving Zephyrian delegate voted yes, though his crystal form dimmed with reluctance. We vote to accept humanity, he chimed sadly. But we demand that they face the same responsibilities as any coalition member. If they possess weapons that can unmake reality, they must be prepared to use them against our greatest enemies. The final tally was unanimous. Humanity had achieved what no other species in galactic history had managed, admission to the coalition through a demonstration of power so overwhelming that even their critics dared not oppose them. Admiral Chen bowed formally to the assembly. Humanity accepts membership in the Galactic Defense Coalition. We pledge to defend coalition worlds and fight against all threats to galactic civilization. Our ships and our weapons are at your service. But even as she spoke the words of alliance, Admiral Chen could see the change in how the aliens looked at her. Before the test, they had seen humans as primitive children seeking protection. Now they saw something very different. A species that possessed the power to erase matter from existence with weapons that violated the known laws of physics. Fear had replaced mockery. Respect had replaced contempt. But Admiral Chen wondered if humanity had traded one form of isolation for another. They were no longer the weakest species in the galaxy, but they might now be the most feared. As the assembly dispersed, alien delegates whispered among themselves about the implications of humanity's membership. Some spoke of the protection that human weapons might provide against cosmic threats. Others worried about what would happen if humanity ever decided that the coalition itself was a threat. Admiral Chen remained on the platform as the hall emptied, looking up at the display that still showed the UES Defiance floating peacefully among the asteroids. The ship looked exactly the same as it had before the battle, small, simple, and unimpressive. But now everyone in the galaxy would know that appearances could be deceiving. Captain Rodriguez's voice came through her communication device. Admiral, we're ready to return to Concordia Prime. Mission accomplished. Well done, Captain, she replied. Bring our ship home. We have a galaxy to protect now. As the Defiance began its journey back to the space station, Admiral Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through submission or supplication, but through strength. They had shown the galaxy that humans were not primitives to be protected, but predators to be respected. The question now was whether the galaxy was ready for what humanity might do next. 6 months had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Defense Coalition, and the galaxy was still trying to understand what that meant. The UES Defiance sat in its designated berth at Concordia Prime, looking as unremarkable as ever. But every species in the coalition now knew that the innocent-looking vessel could erase matter from existence with a single shot. Admiral Chen walked through the corridors of the space station, noting how differently the aliens treated her now. Where once they had barely acknowledged her presence, now they stepped aside respectfully when she passed. Some even bowed their heads in greeting, though whether from respect or fear, she could not tell. She entered the Coalition Command Center, where representatives from dozens of worlds gathered to coordinate defenses against galactic threats. The main display showed a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy, with red zones marking areas where hostile forces had been detected. Admiral Chen greeted Supreme Coordinator Zaldeth, her mental voice carrying its usual calm authority. Your timing is perfect. We have received disturbing reports from the Outer Rim territories. The display zoomed in on a section of space near the galaxy's edge. Several star systems were marked with pulsing red indicators. The monitoring stations in Sector 847 have gone silent, Zaldeth explained. The last transmissions reported massive objects approaching from dark space. Objects that match the energy signatures of ancient machine constructs. A chill ran through the assembled delegates. The ancient machines were a legend that every spacefaring civilization feared. Artificial intelligences from a dead empire that had once ruled half the galaxy. They had vanished millions of years ago, but occasionally their automated war machines still emerged from the void to attack inhabited worlds. Commander Vexhai clicked his mandibles nervously. How many machines are we talking about? Our scouts reported seeing constructs the size of moons approaching the Kepler colonies. 3 confirmed sightings, reported Elder Therian. Each construct appears to be a sphere approximately 8,000 kilometers in diameter. They are converting matter into additional machine units as they advance toward populated systems. Admiral Chen studied the tactical display with growing concern. The ancient machines were the one threat that had never been successfully defeated by conventional weapons. They absorbed energy attacks to power their own systems and used captured matter to build more machines. Several coalition fleets had been completely destroyed trying to stop previous incursions. What forces do we have available? She asked. The Zephyrian Third Fleet is already en route, replied the Zephyrian delegate, his crystal form dimmer than usual since the loss of War Prime Kethzar. 47 capital ships with full escort formations. The Andromedan Defense Force is mobilizing their dreadnought squadrons, and the Vorthak are preparing their bioship swarms. Admiral Chen nodded, but she could see the fear in their expressions. Everyone remembered what had happened the last time the Coalition faced ancient machines. 3 entire fleets had been consumed and converted into machine resources. The automated constructs had only stopped their advance when they reached the edge of their program territory limits. Admiral, Zaldeth's mental voice carried a note of hope. We formally request that humanity contribute to this defense effort. Your unique capabilities may be the key to stopping this incursion before it reaches inhabited worlds. Admiral Chen had been expecting this request. Earth's leaders had debated for weeks about how to handle their first major coalition operation. Some argued that humanity should conserve their secret weapons for threats to Earth itself. Others believed that proving their value as allies was essential for long-term security. Humanity will contribute to the defense, Admiral Chen announced. The UES Defiance will depart immediately for Sector 847. Just one ship? Asked the Andromedan delegate with surprise. Admiral, we appreciate the gesture, but even your advanced weapons may not be sufficient against constructs of this size. Perhaps humanity could contribute additional vessels? Admiral Chen smiled slightly. Commander, you have seen what one human ship can accomplish. Trust me when I say that the Defiance is sufficient for this mission. 2 days later, the UES Defiance emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sector 847. Captain Rodriguez studied the long-range sensor readings with grim fascination. The ancient machine constructs were exactly as described. Massive spheres of dark metal that seemed to absorb light itself. Each one was surrounded by clouds of smaller machines that harvested asteroids and space debris. "My God," whispered Commander Hayes as she watched the displays. "They're strip mining entire solar systems. Look at what they did to the Kepler colonies." The Kepler system had been home to over 50 million coalition citizens just a week ago. Now it was an empty collection of metal frameworks where planets used to be. The machines had disassembled everything: planets, moons, space stations, even the stars' outer layers, and converted it all into raw materials for building more machines. "Captain," reported Dr. Vasquez from her weapons station, "the Ragnarok protocol is ready for deployment." "But, sir, these targets are much larger than anything we've tested against. The quantum cascade effect might take several minutes to propagate through constructs this size." Rodriguez nodded. "Understood, Doctor. We'll have to make each shot count." The Coalition fleet was already engaging the ancient machines when the Defiance arrived. Hundreds of ships fired every weapon they possessed at the massive constructs, but their attacks seemed to have no effect. Energy beams were absorbed by the machine's hull plating. Kinetic projectiles were caught by tractor fields and fed into matter conversion systems. Even the most powerful plasma cannons only created small scorch marks on surfaces thousands of kilometers wide. Worse, the machines were fighting back. Beams of coherent gravity waves crushed Coalition ships like insects. Swarms of smaller machines engulfed entire squadrons, converting ships and crews into additional machine units. The Coalition forces were being systematically destroyed. "This is Admiral Korath of the Zephyrian fleet," came a transmission filled with static and desperation. "All Coalition vessels, we are taking massive casualties. These constructs are immune to our weapons. Recommend immediate withdrawal to prevent total fleet destruction." Captain Rodriguez opened a channel to the Coalition fleet. "Admiral Korath, this is Captain Rodriguez of the UES Defiance. Hold your positions and maintain minimum safe distance. We are moving to engage the primary targets." Captain Rodriguez, with respect, "One ship cannot accomplish what our entire fleet has failed to achieve. These machines are too powerful for conventional weapons." "Admiral," Rodriguez replied calmly, "human weapons are not conventional. The Defiance moved through the battlefield like a knife through water. Ancient machine units tried to intercept the human ship, but Rodriguez used the same tactics that had worked against the Zephyrians: superior agility and unpredictable movement patterns. The machines were powerful but predictable, following programming that was millions of years old. "Target locked on the primary construct," Dr. Vasquez announced. "Quantum field generators are synchronized. Ready to fire on your command." Rodriguez looked at the massive sphere that filled his main screen. It was larger than most moons and contained enough processed matter to build 1,000 fleets. If the Ragnarok protocol worked on this scale, it would be the largest single target ever eliminated by human weapons. "Dr. Vasquez, you are authorized to fire." The beam that emerged from the Defiance's main gun looked exactly the same as it had 6 months ago, a simple stream of coherent energy that seemed pathetically small compared to the massive target. It struck the ancient machine construct and appeared to have no effect at all. Then the quantum cascade began. The process was much slower than it had been with the Zephyrian ship. The construct was so massive that the cascade effect took several minutes to propagate through its entire structure. But once it started, nothing could stop it. The ancient machine construct didn't explode or collapse. It simply began to fade away, starting from the point where the beam had struck. The dark metal hull became transparent, then translucent, then invisible as the quantum bonds holding its atoms together were severed one by one. Within 10 minutes, 8,000 kilometers of artificial intelligence and war machine had been reduced to quantum foam and dispersed harmlessly into space. The smaller machines that had been swarming around it stopped functioning instantly, their connection to the primary construct severed. "Target eliminated," Dr. Vasquez reported with satisfaction. Moving to engage the second construct. The Coalition fleet watched in amazement as the Defiance systematically destroyed the remaining ancient machine constructs. Each shot took several minutes to complete its work, but the result was always the same: total elimination of the target on a quantum level. By the end of the day, Sector 847 was clear of ancient machine presence. 3 moon-sized constructs and thousands of smaller units had been completely erased from existence. The threat that had terrified the galaxy for millions of years had been neutralized by a single human ship. Thank you for watching and comment for next part.